let's talk about this incident that popped up over the course of the weekend. Ja Morant, he has been suspended from all team activities for the Memphis Grizzlies because, wait for it, he flashed a hand cannon again on his buddy's social media account. This was after, remember, he had to go see treatment and get counseling. He was seen spending $50,000 at a strip club during the course of the season and getting lap dances. He also had an altercation with like a 17-year-old at his house over a pickup basketball game. He threatened a security guard who apparently gave his mom some attitude at a mall in Memphis. So there's a lot going on with Ja Morant, but apparently the counseling sessions did not go well because he just decided, you know what, I'm going to throw a piece up on my buddy's social media and see how that plays. So not an ideal situation.
What type of piece?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of gun that is.
You don't know what caliber it was?
Didn't get a clear look.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All I know is it's called a hand cannon where I'm from.
Hand cannon.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again,
he's just immature, man. I mean, he's 23 years old. He's as talented as you can get. And he's just immature. I hope, for his sake, for the organization, the fans who are big Ja Morant fans, that he figures it out sooner rather than later. Because some of this stuff may seem trivial to folks out there, but usually what this leads to is sometimes a tragic event where someone does something stupid or, you know, something small like this then escalates and becomes something bigger. So, I mean, look, he's 23 years old. He's smart enough and has been around long enough to know the things he shouldn't be doing. But for whatever reason, he just doesn't prioritize it or doesn't feel like it's necessary. I don't know when he's going to get a wake-up call. It's sad to see someone who is so talented and so good just not be able to understand it and get it. And I wish you could get, you know, players, and obviously, you know, a guy like LeBron is still trying to play for a championship, so he doesn't give a crap about what Ja Morant's doing. But, you know, you wish there could be some older players who'd reach out, and maybe they already have, right? Like, I don't know what those private conversations are, but someone try to mentor him and say, look, young man, you've got, you know, so much ahead of you. Don't waste it, you know, hanging around with people who enable this sort of behavior. And again, it wasn't his own, you know, IG Live, if I'm not mistaken. It was the guy he was with.
Yeah.
And I said this the first time we had an issue, is one of the hardest things to do, and sometimes, you know, one of the hardest things to do for the player is to look around you and realize, you know, you can't bring everyone with you to the dance. When you make it in the professional league, there's some people you have to leave behind because they're bad influences or they don't have your best interest in mind. You know, he's the one that's made it, and he's trying to obviously, you know, still have fun and be around people that I'm sure he's been around for a while. But those guys also have to be responsible too, not only for themselves, but for him. Like, that's kind of part of the pact. Like, when one of your boys makes it, part of it is you all have to look out for him now too, even when it's not in his best interest. It's just an unwritten rule amongst boys when you make it that far. And that's the upsetting thing to me.
It's the old saying, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You know, and it's just kind of like the first time should have been mortifying to him, to have him holding a firearm, playing around with a firearm surface. That should have been the real kind of like, let me tighten up, because I don't want to sacrifice all my hard work. You know, the things that I've been able to accomplish. I just got the Kyrie deal. You know, they went away from Kyrie Irving. They go to, you know, Ja Morant. You got a fully guaranteed, you know, contract with your team. It's just, for me, to want to embrace a lifestyle that's really truly built off of survival. Like what he's portraying in these videos, the people that he's around, you know, you're nowhere near that life. That's not your life. It's not your lifestyle. So it's kind of like, I just don't understand why it's so important for a kid that never grew up that way to continue to bring that type of attention his way. I don't get it. Like, you're in the car, y'all, you know, y'all doing what you're doing, and you flash it, like, and it was quick. You know what I mean? Like, it was definitely, the flash of it was quick. But my whole thing is, you did it. Y'all, it posted. It was alive. It just so people know, it was alive. But if you on gang time like that, you banging gang, and the people around you are banging gang with you, you're catcalling that element to come your way. And while you may not be about that life, and your homies may be more about that life, or still in that life and still moving around in that life, you're going to find yourself in a real situation. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, Q. You're going to find yourself in one of these moments where you chilling at the house, and it's okay to be, you know, homies with the homie that you grew up with, and y'all still got y'all's affiliations and how y'all you represent one another and keeping it real. Like, this isn't how I grew up, but these are my homies over here. Somebody might run up in that house. Somebody might run up on that car. Somebody might run up in that strip joint. Somebody might run up in that restaurant. Because when you're living by those rules and you're living in that environment, there's no telling when something that is going on may pop off. That's street life. You are not a street life person. But the more you continue to identify with it, the more you entertain it, and you flash it and you put it out there, you're making the target on you even bigger. You're making it even bigger on you. And so for me, and just seeing it, like, they in the car this time. So you're not in the strip club this time. You're in the car, and y'all banging to your music, and y'all doing what cats do on their lives and on their TikToks and all this, their social media videos on gang. You gonna have to, like, at some point you might have to be on gang. And I just don't understand for the life of me. And I've lost family members to gang violence. Like, this is, I'm not just, don't think for 2 seconds, I'm just talking. Like, one of my favorite cousins died. Crip. My family are Crips. I grew up on Crip. That S ain't for fake, and it ain't a game. So if for any reason, for some strange reason, being a $200 million man, you got some weird obsession with trying to be a street dude, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's to be said to a kid like that.
You know what's so puzzling about the whole thing? The lifestyle and the people he's trying to emulate would do anything to have what he has. And it's like he doesn't even realize it. If you were to ask any of those people he's trying to emulate, any of the people on the street, like LaVar, the people you talked about, that you know, that you've either grown up with or in your family, if you said, hey, you can have that, or you can have $200 million in the bank, a $500 million career, and go play basketball for a living. Oh, and by the way, you're one of the best in the world. They would trade all of that to go have what Ja Morant has.
100%.
And he's sitting there flashing guns on IG Live in the middle of the day because he wants to be like them.
You calling for that, man.
It's crazy.
You keep calling for it. The energy that you put out there is the energy that's going to eventually, it's going to find you. You're going to connect with it. You're calling for that energy. And you know what else, just real quick, that I think would be pretty interesting to just note? You're in a car. You're in a vehicle. How many people you think are taking notice of the fact that he flashed a gun in a vehicle? So now it's not only about gang on gang. Now it's about, if you get stopped on a routine traffic stop, maybe those police officers saw this video. Okay, maybe this was something that was observed because it's a big ass story, and now you get pulled over, and you see that Ja Morant is sitting in the passenger side of that seat. Are you telling me if I saw this article, I saw this story, that I'm not on full alert, knowing that there could be a firearm in the car? So what happens next? And then now all of a sudden, now we have this whole thing, right? This thing starts to roll and turn into something, a whole nother thing. It builds and morphs and evolves into something entirely different based off of what? So it's not just the streets that could catch up to you, being this dude that continues to pull his gun out. And this time, he wasn't holding it like he was holding it in the strip club. He was holding it differently. This time, he's holding that. He's strapped up holding it this time. So I just, to me, it's wrong. And furthermore, I'm not even looking at it from his perspective. I'm looking at it from the NBA's perspective. And I'm looking at it from his team organization's perspective. You could sit there and tell Dylan Brooks that we're definitively moving on from you. We don't want this in our organization anymore. And he will not be coming back. Well, what are you going to do with Ja Morant? Because at some point, you got to prove that being a good person, being a person that's an employee of your company, matters more than their talent level and what they bring to your organization. And the NBA needs to think about it that way, and so do the Memphis Grizzlies.